So welcome to those who came from far away and those who came from nearby to honor someone who's very special to us here at MSU and really worldwide. It is quite an honor for me to be able to give this introduction. I'm Dawn Misra. I'm the chair of Epidemiology and Biostatistics in the department that Nigel founded here at Michigan State. Many of you have known Nigel much longer than I have, but I can basically say that I've known Nigel my entire career. And so it's a little funny because I think some people think he must have been my advisor for my thesis or maybe taught me in classes, but really I got the chance to meet Nigel just as a guest lecturer in an epidemiology course at Columbia University. But I was very taken with Nigel's thinking and his approach to epidemiology. And then when he went out to the wild, wild west, as many people thought, coming out to Michigan State, I didn't think it was so strange because I grew up here. I grew up not that far from here. And so, yes, I realized it wasn't the University of Michigan, but Michigan State had a long and history past, and Michigan was a great place to be starting a career, a new program in epidemiology. And we were trained by some of the same people, which is, I think, where the thread starts. And I'm fortunate to have inherited both the department and his course in perinatal epidemiology, which I taught for the first time last year. Again, both somewhat intimidating to walk in his footsteps. Many of you do know Nigel's history of where he's been and what he's accomplished. I had to go back and look at it, and he's often said how attached he feels to Columbia. We were at graduation together this year, and he said to me, I really wish I could wear my Columbia robes. And I thought, well, you know, you were there for teaching, you got your MPH, but I forgot that he'd gone to college there. But also, I think bigger than that is he feels like that's where he got his zest for life of epidemiology. And that's where kind of he was born as an epidemiologist. And so we have shared that over a long time. So many of you today will be remarking on his incredible scientific contributions and sort of paying homage to him in that way. I want to say a few words about him as a person. And I came up with 5 words that I think most of you will recognize as being part of who he is. Loyal. Any of you who've known him, who've depended on him for anything, know that he will never let you down. He will never turn his back on you, no matter what's going on. He's always going to be there for people with whom he has weak bonds, as well as those he has strong bonds with. Nigel is inquisitive, so he's never stopped asking questions. And, you know, I came in here the year that he announced he was going to retire. And yet I think he might have done more in the last 2.5 years than he'd done in the last 5 years before that. And thinking about the pandemic, you know, the pandemic was just another opportunity to do more, to ask more questions. So inquisitive. And some of you know also brave. So Nigel asked tough questions. If you think about the work he's going to even talk about, I think briefly later today about the convalescent serum project, many did not want to hear his thoughts and ideas about this and kind of pushed it away and said it was over and done with. And he was like that about a lot of topics in our field over time. He said he continued to ask the questions and be brave and making comments and answers that maybe other people didn't want to hear yet. And he's persistent about that. And then finally, I guess compassionate, and maybe I'll add in kind. He's always kind of been there for people, listening to them, hearing what they have to say, figuring out ways to make things better for them. And I think that's the way he led in the department. And I think that's the way he's led in the field across the country and across the world. So I'm going to stop there because there's going to be much discussion about Nigel today, but I just want to thank him myself personally for the effects he's had on my career. And I guess one other thing, I don't know if she's here or not. Your wife is not here, Nigel.
She's on her way.
She's on her way. So the other part that binds Nigel and I, oh, she's on Zoom, Ellen.
I'm here on Zoom.
Thank you, Ellen. So the part that binds Nigel and I together is also commitment to marriage. So when I was finishing at Columbia and trying to find my way in the world and looking for jobs, Nigel had just come here, and as many of you know, one of the most successful spousal hires in the history of Michigan State. And I've struggled throughout my career with spousal hiring issues, and Nigel has been there supporting it every bit of the way. And we've both sort of stuck to our guns that we stay with our spouse. You know, there could be great opportunities, but if it doesn't work for the two of us together, it doesn't work. And so that's been a real model for me. And I want to thank Nigel for that.